Hey guys, welcome to Edstrong Learning. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. In this video, we will be looking at the human cell, the cell and the genetics of a cell. The contents of this chapter are 1. Cell and its structure. 2. Cell components. 3. Gene and cell division. 4. Genetic diseases. In this video, we will be covering the aspects of a cell, its structure and components. Firstly, what is a cell? The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. They are also known as the building blocks of the body. There are about 10 to 13 trillion cells in a human body. Most living things are composed of different kinds of cells specialized to perform different functions. A liver cell, for example, does not have the same biochemical duties as a nerve cell. Can you tell who discovered cells? Robert Hooke discovered the cell in 1665. Robert Hooke observed a piece of bottle cork under a compound microscope and noticed minuscule structures that reminded him of small rooms. However, his compound microscope had limited magnification, and hence, he could not see any details in the structure. Now, let us look into the difference between a unicellular organism and a multicellular organism. A unicellular organism is an organism that consists of a single cell. This means all life processes, such as reproduction, feeding, digestion, and excretion, occur in one cell. Amoebas, bacteria, and plankton are just some types of unicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms are those composed by multiple cells. They are classified in 13 major groups of terrestrial living beings, including animals, plants, fungi, ciliates, algae, and foraminifera. The number of cells per organism range from some tens to up to several million. Cells provide structure for the body, take in nutrients from food, convert those nutrients into energy, and carry out specialized functions. Cells also contain the body's hereditary material and can make copies of themselves. Cells have many parts, each with a different function. Some of these parts, called organelles, are specialized structures that perform certain tasks within the cell. This picture shows the structure of a cell. As you can see, nuclear membrane, mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi body, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, chromosomes are some of the most important cell organelles. We will be discussing in detail about these organelles as we go through the video. The cytoplasm, cell membrane and the nucleus are the three main parts of a cell. Cytoplasm is the part of the cell that contains the organelles and all the other components of the cell. The cytoplasm is made up of water, nutrients, proteins, nucleic acids. The cytoplasm is the place of all biological reactions inside a cell. The cell membrane or the plasma membrane acts as a barrier which only allows selective movement of substances into or out of the cell. This selective movement is known as selective permeability. The nucleus of the cell is the part that contains all the genetic information necessary for the cell to function. The cell wall is the most prominent part of the plant cell structure. It is made up of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. The cell wall is present exclusively in plant cells. It protects the plasma membrane and other cellular components. It is a rigid and stiff structure surrounding the cell membrane. Note, cell wall is not present in animals and human cells. Now, let us discuss about the cell organelles. 1. Nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane protects the nucleus by forming a boundary between the nucleus and other cell organelles. 2. Mitochondria. It is also known as the powerhouse of the cell, due to the fact that it produces ATP. ATP is the cell's energy currency. The energy produced by mitochondria is used to day-to-day functioning of the cell. When adenosine diphosphate is mixed with inorganic phosphate, it forms adenosine triphosphate and water. The source of adenosine diphosphate and inorganic phosphate is the food consumed by us. If a cell needs to spend energy to accomplish a task, the ATP molecule splits off one of its three phosphates, becoming ADP and phosphate. The ATP molecule is just like a rechargeable battery. When it's fully charged, it's ATP. When it's run down, it's ADP. 3. Lysosome. Lysosomes are little digestion machines. They go to work when the cell absorbs or eats some food. Once the material is inside the cell, the lysosomes attach and release their enzymes. The enzymes break down complex molecules that can include complex sugars and proteins. But what if food is scarce and the cell is starving? The lysosomes go to work even if there is no food for the cell. When the signal is sent out, lysosomes will actually digest the cell organelles for nutrients. Hence, they are known as the suicidal bag of the cell. Now, try to answer this question by yourself. Lysosomes are designed to break down complex molecules and pieces of the cell. Why don't the enzymes break down the membrane that surrounds the lysosome? 4. Golgi body. It converts simplest form of food into complex form, which is stored for future use. It is also the organelle that builds lysosomes. They are called the cell's post office as it is involved in the transportation of materials within the cell. 5. Endoplasmic reticulum. It is involved in the transportation of substances throughout the cell. It plays a primary role in the metabolism of carbohydrates, synthesis of lipids, steroids, and proteins. While the function of the nucleus is to act as the cell brain, the endoplasmic reticulum functions as a manufacturing and packaging system. It works closely with the Golgi apparatus and ribosomes. The endoplasmic reticulum has two forms: the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which has ribosomes on its surface that secrete proteins into the endoplasmic reticulum, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which lacks ribosomes. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum plays a role in calcium sequestration and release. What is sequestration? It is the trapping of a chemical in the atmosphere or environment, and its isolation in a natural or artificial storage area. The endoplasmic reticulum also gives structural support to the cell. Hence, it is known as endoskeleton of the cell. 6. Ribosome. They are the protein synthesizers of the cell. We will be learning more about ribosomes by the time we finish this chapter. 7. Chromosomes. It is a DNA molecule with part, or all of the genetic material of an organism. It is composed of nucleosomes, which are made up of DNA, and histone protein. Every human cell consists of 23 pairs of chromosomes. Chromosomes play a crucial role in determining the sex of an individual. Chromosomes are not always visible. They usually sit around uncoiled, and as loose strands, called chromatin. When it is time for the cell to reproduce, they condense and wrap up very tightly. The tightly wound DNA is the chromosome. Now, let us have a look about DNA. DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, is the hereditary material in humans, and almost all other organisms. Nearly every cell in a person's body has the same DNA. Most DNA is located in the cell nucleus, but a small amount of DNA can also be found in the mitochondria. Mitochondria convert the energy from food into a form that cells can use. Deoxyribonucleic acid is a molecule composed of two polynucleotide chains that coil around each other to form a double helix, carrying genetic instructions for the development, functioning, growth and reproduction of all known organisms, and many viruses. The information in DNA is stored as a code, made up of 4 chemical bases: adenine, A, guanine, G, cytosine, C, and thymine, T. There are approximately 3.2 billion base pairs, in 23 pair of chromosomes, in each cell. For each human, as shown in the diagram, the sequence of these base pairs is 99.99% similar. Humans differ by only 0.01% of the difference in base pairs. Did you know? A pig weighing around 60 kilograms will, for example, resemble a human body in many ways, including fat distribution, cover of hair and ability to attract insects. For this reason, pigs have been used in medical research for over 30 years, and are what's known as a translational research model. So far, in this video, we have covered about the basics of a cell, structure and functioning of a cell, and also about DNA. In the next video, we will be covering about genetics and genetic diseases. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed your learning. Make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button to make sure you do not miss the next video. Stay tuned.